from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to Healing from Complex PTSD. And in particular, our complex PTSD is in reference to developmental trauma, which you are going to hear a lot more about over the coming years as well, because the DSM people wouldn't recognise CPTSD as something separate and needing help. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk and a whole cohort of people tried to get them to look at the research and understand it and validate it, etc. So now there is a big move in America for developmental trauma. Now, today we're going to talk about it from the perspective of why does our brain resist us being able to reach out and get help or take one next step or make it impossible for us to feel even comfortable reaching out and talking about what's happening for us internally and what we can do about it to help us take one next step and get some help in whatever way, shape or form. And I really want you to be able to feel comfortable in that you're not alone. So I get messages in my DMs from different platforms, and people, especially professionals, will say that I relate to everything that you're saying, I understand, it makes sense, and then they feel like they have to run off and don't even engage with me because the fear that the brain is driving. So we want to go through 5 different points to help us not only have language, but to feel and sense and observe around us what this fear is like, how much it's driving us, and how much it makes us stay contained within ourselves instead of being able to break out and have our voice and speak up, or have our voice in ways that make us take action, okay? So even some of the times in life when we want to do things that are different to our family, for example, the developmental trauma makes it hard for us to even consider breaking the chains of all the verbal and non-verbal rules that our family has, okay? So every time we want to break out, every time we want to break the patterns and the beliefs and the thoughts and the emotions and the structures that were built into us in childhood, our brain goes, hang on, we kept ourselves tight and together and everyone thinks we're together. And childhood taught us it wasn't safe to reach out and ask for help, to come out of ourselves and be seen, okay? So our amygdala fires off the fear signals, making asking for help feel like stepping into a threat. So the people that jump into my inbox and say, I relate to everything you're saying, also have this fear come and stop them from saying anything else because it's driven by the brain. I can't express or show you how deeply and how strong our brain is when we've never been taught about it either. So at first, when you hear me say, because the brain's driving it, it's like, you sure? It's not me? When globally now we're told all the time it's us, and it's not. It's how our brain was conditioned to act automatically, unconsciously, to survive. We had to survive our family systems. We had to survive the abuse, the trauma, the tragedy, the ongoing, consistent pain. And we had no language, we had no skill sets, we had no understanding, and therefore our brain didn't have any of it either, and it needed it. We also had developmental trauma, intergenerational trauma handed down as well. So with all of that happening, imagine that you grow into adulthood and you're like, well, why can't I control it? Well, you can't control the survival brain because it's wired literally to make sure that you survive. Literally. The brain is literally driving all of this. So as we grew up at a soul level, we have a belief that says, I don't deserve help. If nobody ever helped you in childhood and you had to make your way in the world, And believe me, I work with psychologists, psychiatrists, CEOs all over the world, and they are in the same situation. Why am I not able to function fully as an adult? Because survival brain is jumping in, okay? And then we have to look at the beliefs, the soul level. And did you come to believe you were a burden? Am I a burden? What is the truth? We have to be willing to ask these questions and also look at whether we have shame around even trying to identify that we have needs. It's quite normal if I say to a client, what need do you have in this situation? That they say, I don't know, because we were never allowed to have any. We never had them validated by a family member or a caretaker, and we certainly were never taught to identify them in childhood. We can find that our muscles are tense, our chest is tight, our voice does shut down, as we know. We can find, for example, me, I was sitting in a chair one time getting ready to go to gym one morning, and I woke up and I had one shoe and one sock on, and I'm going, what happened? And when we're changing things up, brain can just go shut down. It can be many things that contribute to that type of thing happening. Sometimes some of us are asked for help, or certainly in my case, tried to have conversations around events at home. Simplest things like my mother would always act disappointed that I didn't clean the shower properly, and I'd be there doing it twice over. I'd get her in, say, look, is it clean enough? And you could just tell the messages in my family were non-verbal. And, we come to read people because we see all the non-verbal cues that are happening. We can begin to feel all those blockages inside of ourselves as well. And so sometimes asking for help led to punishment, or it led to non-verbal messages, or it led to no comment, like nothing at all. You're giving nothing in return. And we need that. As human beings, we need to have those conversations, even if they're hard. And we need to have them with our children, especially our teenagers. And we also need to have them with other adults in a way that is authentic for both of us. And at a spiritual level, we can be feeling very deep within us that we have a longing to be seen, to be held, but the fear of rejection shuts us down, literally. And sometimes you can feel that in your heart. You can feel that it's shut down because of the rejection, or even if it's not family, it's like life has rejected me. But we have to be willing to look at what can I do to change that up as well. We can also see it in our life when we withdraw from life, we withdraw from people. And yes, I hear you, people can run away from us as well. And I've had that happen. I've lost people twice, two lots of people in my life. After my divorce, I lost everyone. First of all, because I never told anyone what was going on behind closed doors. They didn't know. And second of all, because he went around bad-mouthing me, even though he'd been given choices for getting help. I didn't know that was why they stopped talking to me, because they believed him, because of course I hadn't ever said what was going on behind closed doors, and he was Mr. Wonderful Happy-Go-Lucky. And that's okay, that's what it was at the time. And I didn't know. I was naive. I didn't know to tell anyone or to reach out. And I certainly hope that even if you're in that stage where you feel like you've lost everyone and everything, even though we're not talking about that in this video today, I want you to know that there is still ways forward, and there is still trust that we can rebuild inside ourselves, and better ways to pick healthier friends for sure. Now, a lot of this comes down to when our prefrontal cortex goes offline and our logical brain can't override trauma memory. So even when we know that we should reach out, our brain hits the brakes and it goes, yep, no, we're not doing that. Now, another side of this too is we don't actually have a roadmap in our brain, okay, of what it's like to reach out to somebody who actually cares what it's like to reach out to somebody who can help us legitimately and understand us, somebody who will help us feel fully known, fully seen, fully accepted, and actually care. And it's hard. And as professionals too, it becomes hard to reach out because professionally we're supposed to have it all together and not be seen to have any kind of mental health challenges. So then we have to say, but what do we do about it when this has actually been outside of my control? We haven't been educated about the brain science. We haven't had somebody who can sit there and go, yeah, and I understand why this is happening because X, Y, and Z, okay? So what we want to be able to do then is begin to do three simple steps for starters. First of all, you want to write down, do some journaling. Journaling saved my life many years ago. Lots and lots of journals. A4 journals, this is only a little one, but I literally did find cheap A4 journals that have hard covers and lined paper. Just used to write and write and write and write about how I felt every day. And that actually helped me begin to put language around my emotions and begin to help me be centered and make sense of what was happening in my day, even though I didn't understand the full impacts or where things were coming from. And at that time that all started was because I knew that no matter how hard I tried, my husband wasn't going to have a conversation with me about the things that we needed to have conversations about. If you are at the point where you want to reach out for help, we want to name whose voice that fear belongs to. So it could be from our childhood, it could be from a parent, it could be from an abuser, it could be from a teacher, it could be from anyone, even at work. Name it so that you can say, that's not who I am anymore, and I get to adult and have a choice, okay? Now, we don't want to leap into big, vast vats of vulnerability, all right? We want to start really small. Text someone, join a safe group online, ask a small favor. Now, we have a Facebook peer support group online, obviously, and that's a very, very safe group for when you're trying to work up the courage to speak up. You'll get lots of TLC and support in there, and that's the sort of space that you can go to and say, okay, I need somebody just to validate me that I'm a good person today. People will come along and validate it, and it can feel good and unfreeze our heart that wants to run off and hide, okay, more, and help us begin to break free and breathe again. These are the micro things that we do to build neural connection. We do them again and again and again and again because we want that connection to happen so that we can step up and out into not only our best life, but who I am and why I'm here and what I want to do and what I want to achieve. And trust me, I have no problems if you want to achieve being able to get out of bed every morning, have some breakfast, have a shower, and then sit down and journal. Whatever it is that your one next step is. Remember, when I first had to get out of bed, my one next step was just to sit up on the edge of the bed, stand up, and take one step. And because of having lost all my brain capacity, I had to make that one next step and make sure I didn't fall over. So it was like gauging the gap between the bed and the wall and going, okay, how do I do this? How do I make sure I don't fall over? How do I leave the bedroom and make sure I don't fall over? And it was literally like that, one step at a time. And the hardest part is always our one next step. So all the way through, I found that every challenge I faced, so for example, going to our new women's group because we were starting a book together, that was like terrifying, anxiety, perspiring, just about need a shower before I got there situation. Tonight I'm going off to meet a new group of people. No anxiety. Zero. Zip. Never met them before. Have spoken to one of the ladies from the group. know where we're going, and no anxiety, no fear, just absolute joy that I'm going off to meet new people. And if you'd known me back then, you would know that there was no way I could have done this without either anxiety or major panic attacks. So here I am, excited to go and enjoy myself, and happily enjoying being single in life as well. Because what happens as well is we find people, and if we don't like one group, we'll go and find another group, because especially in today's world, there's lots and lots of groups. Now, we want to remind ourselves that this is our brain that is resisting the change. It's not the truth of who you are. It's not the truth of who I am. It's my brain trying to drive the show and make sure I stay safe. Make sure I'm protected. Okay, one of the things I felt the other day when my brain was running the show was I could literally get that real sense inside of me that I'm trying to protect myself. Once I felt it, it was just, okay, let's move on to the next thing. We want to breathe, we want to pray or ground into the present, reminding the spirit, you are not the same child anymore. You are not the child anymore. You're the adult now. And our breath is a way to pray. And please, 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 please always be aware that everyone is welcome here. And this is not about right or wrong, in or out, who's got the right mode or not. This is about helping you discover what your one next step is for you, and in a way that's comfortable for you and helps you retrain your brain and helps you get out and enjoy life again. Just remember, the hardest part will always be this one next step. Have the most wonderful day. Oh, that's right. If you want to go further, when you're ready to go further, this is what you can do. You go into the Thriver Library, which is less than $1 a day. You do the Developmental Trauma course. You do the My Authentic Self course. And in the Developmental Trauma course, you start doing the Trauma-Informed Movement. I especially developed that to help us, help our brain train our prefrontal cortex to stay online, even when we're triggered. Now, when we're triggered, it can be so subtle that it's not till the end of the day that we look back and we realize that we're in a state of dissociation. So it's important that we do this when you're ready, okay? Have the most beautiful week, and I will be back with some more information soon. Bye for now.